Can you give me $40? Generosity, trust, or need? It was 11 o'clock in the morning. I can't recall the exact day, but the morning had been busy. The next ride was a 34-minute trip, a good fare. My pickup point was in southeast Melbourne. I pulled up to the designated spot and waited. A few moments later, I saw a woman approaching the car. She moved slowly, her steps careful, her frame slightly bent with age. She carried an old-style handbag, the kind you don't see much anymore, worn from years of use. I unlocked the door and she settled into the back seat. "Good morning," I greeted her as I started the trip. She nodded with a polite smile but said nothing. About 2 minutes later, she suddenly spoke. "Can you take me back, please?" I forgot something. Without hesitation, I turned the car around. It wasn't a big deal, and I could tell she was troubled. Maybe she'd left something important behind. When we got back to her place, she took about 5 minutes inside. When she returned, she seemed more composed, though still lost in thought. As we resumed the journey, she remained quiet. I could sense she was carrying something heavy on her mind. Then she spoke again. "Can you give me $20, please?" Her voice was calm, but there was quiet urgency in it. "I'm going to the doctor, and after paying for this trip, I'll be short by 20. I glanced at her through the rearview mirror. The fare was about $45. "How much is the doctor's fee?" I asked. $120, she said. I went back home to check if I had an extra 20, but I couldn't find any. She sighed softly. "Medicare will refund it later this afternoon once I submit the bill. But right now, I don't have enough." I nodded, understanding her situation. I wasn't sure if she was telling the truth, but something about her manner made me believe her. "How will you get back?" I asked. She shrugged. "I'll take the bus. I'll be in no rush after the appointment." "Do you have a return ticket?" She looked up as if realizing something for the first time. "No," she admitted, a bit flustered. "I didn't think of that." I reached into my pocket, debating with myself. "I'll give you $30, I finally said. A part of me hesitated. What if she wasn't being honest? But another part reminded me, even if she wasn't, it didn't matter. It wasn't about whether she would pay me back. It was about kindness, about helping someone who needed it. She looked at me with gratitude. "That is so kind of you." We drove in silence for another 10 minutes, then she hesitated again. "Actually, could you give me $40, please?" $40. Normally, I wouldn't have that much cash in my pocket, but today was different. I had the money because I'd planned to buy something for my daughter. For a moment, I wrestled with my thoughts. Was I being taken advantage of? Should I say no? And then, without really knowing why, I said, "Yeah, that's okay." When we reached the destination, I parked outside and handed her the $40. Then, as a quiet test of trust, I wrote my bank details on a small piece of paper and gave it to her. She took it, her hands trembling slightly. "Thank you," she whispered. She looked at me with warm, sincere eyes and murmured a soft prayer, asking for blessings on my life. Then she was gone. I never heard from her again. Days passed, then weeks. I checked my bank account a few times, not really expecting anything, and nothing ever came through. But strangely, I didn't feel any regret. Maybe she truly needed help. Maybe she simply forgot. It didn't matter. That day, I chose to trust a stranger. I chose kindness, and that, in itself, was enough.